Hi testers, Barry from MOT Tools. Today we're going to have a little talk about tinted windows and tint testing. So it's, where are we now? March 2023. We know that in the government consultation, they're talking about bringing tint testing into the MOT and making it an official part of the MOT test. We know that right now in the MOT, we are asked to just sit in the car and judge for ourselves whether the view of the road ahead or to the sides is significantly affected. So that seems very subjective to me, but that's where we are. And I guess maybe when they wrote the rules when my dad was a boy, there weren't a lot of tinted windows about. It's a bit more of a thing these days. So let's think about what could we do as testers. You know, could we use some equipment a bit like this, a tint tester? So we're going to try and use this today. The guys at Beaumonk have sent this out for me to play with and test some windows. I've got some other little bits of tinting technology, some basic stuff that we can look at. So I think what we'll do is we'll take this boy racer car here, which clearly has tinted windows, and we'll see if it's legal or not legal. Let's have a look. This is our little light tester. When I press the button, I think you can see it flash. It sends a bit of light that obviously goes in from there into there and sees if there's any diffraction on the light or whether all of the light is coming through, for want of a better description. So let's try it on this car's front window, which actually looks pretty dark to me. I'll see if I can hold it up so that everyone can see. Okay, so we're going to press it now, press and hold. No, and now do the test. 71. Nice. So we know that the government restriction is you must allow at least 70% of the light through. This little puppy's got 71% of the light coming through, so it's a pass. For me as an MOT tester, is it a big wahoo to do that test? Not really, pretty straightforward. What I did like was it takes any subjectivity out of it. You know, it's not me judging, do I think that's too dark or not? It's this piece of equipment doing it. Then I suppose we get into issues with how much does it cost? Has it got to be calibrated? You know, the calibration is still going to be 80, 90 quid, I guess. Has that got to be done every year, adding more cost to something I might not use very often? Where am I going to keep it? Will it be okay? You know, it feels like it's a fairly sensitive bit of equipment. I don't think it would do well on the bottom shelf in the floor in the workshop. I guess if it went back in its box every time, it would be all right, something like that. I don't know, I suppose the only thing I did like about it was if this takes the reading, then you can't argue. You know, so if I've got a customer who thinks that their windows are too tinted or are not too tinted or whatever, this takes all of the guesswork out of it, so I quite like that. Then I guess would this become a piece of connected equipment and send the results up to DVSA? That really brings me out of the loop then, because it just either creates a fail or it doesn't create a fail. I guess it means people will bring their cars with clean windows. I think what we'll do now is we'll go to the back window, which I think is a bit darker, and we'll see if that's a fail. See you there. Okay, so here we are at the back window of Boy Racer Car. And let's test that. Line my equipment up. On the button, 20%. So if that had been on the front window, we'd have to fail it. Ooh, that would be a bit of a problem. Imagine having to go and buy some new front windows for your car. Imagine all of the rows we're going to have at reception of our MOT bays based on is my window or is it not too tinted? So let's stop there and then we'll go and grab some other bits of equipment that we can talk about while we're on tinted equipment. So let's talk a bit more about ways that we might end up testing tinted windows. And within this little magic pouch, we have a tinted sample and it tells you how tinted it is on there. And I think that there's some talk around the MOT test being a situation where I would put that behind the window and compare that tint to that tint. So if our customer's car had a darker tint than our tint sample, that would be how we would fail. But quite honestly, looking at it now, I can't see. The only way I could see was to actually sort of look really close, and that is lighter than this. This is only allowing 55% of the light through, so technically it's a fail. Again, a little bit subjective. Didn't like it as much as I liked using the actual light tester or tint tester. But I think the DVSA's problem is that will the industry moan too much about having to invest in tint testers versus, you know, a rudimentary cost of buying these little samples? I guess you'd have to keep, it's covered in my fingerprints already, you'd have to keep them clean-ish and not lose them, but that would seem to be a way to test it. Don't know, it's not great for me. We can get other samples as well, so maybe we'll end up with a little pack, a little swatch of these maybe, where you'd be like, dung, 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 you'd try 2 or 3 to see where it was, so you could kind of get a ready reckoner. We were chatting about it in the office yesterday, and someone suggested, you know, maybe a longer piece of glass that had tints in different degrees as it went along, so that you could just, excuse me, you could just slide it down, keep going till you got a match, and then you'd know what the tint was, how dark it was. That seems doable, might be easier. So the one thing we didn't talk about, which maybe will come into the MOT, is you can get these little cards. So that one there shows you a 25% tint, and if I put it on the bonnet there, you can sort of see it. Gives you an idea of what 25% is, and we go through to a 50% one, much darker look. And so we might end up getting something from DVSA a bit like this, where we have actually got different levels of tint that you can compare, so that you'd be able to show a customer how or why their car had failed. That's a 95%, it's almost black, look, so clearly you can't see through that. Well, you can see through it, technically. I don't know if the camera can see that, but it's very dark. But maybe that gives an idea on something that the DVSA might use. That's just a little booklet that one Evo Film, little plug for you there, Evo Film. They kindly sent this out for free. Little thing there, we may pop that up on the screen that tells you a bit more about the types of tints. Or maybe take a picture of that and bang it up as well. So there we go, bit of information about tinted windscreens. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell button so you can get more product reviews from MOT Juice or get access to great training videos that we put on YouTube.